Hey, happy Tuesday. Look at us. Look at us. We are which way's left and which way's right? I don't know. This whole like mirror image thing gets me every time. Look at this different angle. Different angle, guys. Different angle. Moving stuff around cuz this light is so much better when it's in front of me. How you doing? Happy Tuesday. So, have you taken your quiz yet? I know so many of you have actually taken it recently. I just saw some people come through taking it last night, and that's so exciting. What is your order? I'll go ahead and drop the link to the quiz in the comments if you haven't taken it yet. It's fun, but also very insightful. Helps you to understand what your gifts are and some things that you could improve on to, use your gifts better, right? Higher and better. And also, side note, if you're seeing quiz links places that they're not working, I apologize. Facebook's being funky with links right now. Anything in the body of a post, it doesn't seem to be working. So check the comments. I've tried to catch them all and put put them in the comments too, but there's only so much I can do. So how about a story time today on our Tuesday Tales little learning adventure? How about that? So for our new group members, hey, I'm Margaret. I am a certified equine sports massage therapist with more certifications wherever they're up here all around. I have lots of certifications and lots of different things, healing modalities. But mostly, primarily, I just, sum it up with certified equine sports massage therapist and osteopathic student. I'm wrapping up my osteopathic diploma program. Which has been really fascinating. And I've got like over 30 years of horse experience in all varieties of care and lots of different riding styles, disciplines, whatever. Done a lot of things. Now I primarily do bodywork and rehab and enjoy my own ponies. But today I want to come in and kind of share with you guys because let me make sure you can hear me too. Sometimes that's a thing. Yes. Okay. Cool. Hey guys, I see there's two of you here watching. I can't see it. You know how this is. I can't see it from my computer, but I see you guys on my phone. Anyway, if you comment, that'd be awesome. I love to have a conversation with you, but sometimes Facebook doesn't. Sometimes Facebook doesn't tell me you guys are here, let alone you comment. So, anyway, I want to share a little story because I know that you guys are here in this group because you've probably had at least one horse in your life that has left you like, what the F is going on, and probably been through lots of professionals and probably paid lots of vet bills and even ended up in the situation where you're like, we don't know what the answer is. It's a mystery. And that's really frustrating as an owner. It can be heartbreaking. And you want to know the answers. You want to understand how you can better identify pain, solve behavioral problems, and potentially use bodywork to do it, right? Bodywork can do a lot. And there are definitely times where it's not going to do anything at all, or it's not going to help until you solve another problem, like broken bones and things like that. But it is definitely a key player in creating better situations for horses, which is why I do it, right? So I want to kind of share a story with you because I had an interesting case lately. And when I was called out to see this horse, like they were looking for someone to come out and do maintenance body work. So much so in the maintenance thought process, like not everybody understands the value of body work. And part of that is because not everybody practices body work in the most effective way, right? So when they called me out, they were just looking for someone that could fit their horse into their practice schedule every other month so that they could alternate months with chiropractic. And I explained why that was not the highest and best choice before I got there. And I said, but that's totally fine. If that's what you want to do, I will absolutely accommodate you on that. It's just not the highest and best answer. It's not the most effective, cost-effective, or solution-oriented effectiveness solution here. It's not the best answer. And so, of course, they get out there and I see the horse, and part of the issue is like they knew that she wasn't super comfortable, which is why they wanted her on a regular schedule, but they didn't understand what was causing so much discomfort and that we could create a powerful solution in a short amount of time if we follow the order of operations, right? You'll hear me talk about order of operations a lot. There are things that need to be done in a certain order to make sure that we're making progress, right? So for example, when we talk about getting horses fit for spring, I can tell you right now, it's not going out and saddling up your horse and getting the saddle blanket wet on day 1, 2, through whatever. Like, we don't just start there. In my opinion, you need to be evaluating your horse's condition and establishing if their back is even healthy enough to be saddling and riding, let alone wet saddle blankets, right? But in this case, what we're looking at is more assessing her body. And I do this in several different ways. Obviously, we have 20 minutes here today and there's only 15 left. So I'm not going to have time to teach these all to you. These are things that I cover in the Intuitive Equine Bodywork Certification Program. And sometimes we'll do a little one-off masterclass or virtual clinic, as I like to call them, that shares that a little bit more with you so that you can use these skills yourself. You'll be made aware. They come up in the group. If I choose to do that, if I have time for it, you'll see it in the group. But so I evaluate skeletal structure and determine if there's any major places where bones are misaligned. I evaluate soft tissue, so muscles and fascia and even tendons and ligaments a little bit. That comes in a little bit more on the osteopathic side than the bodywork side. So don't be going in expecting your average body worker to just come out and assess tendons and ligaments and even joint mobility. That's something that I do as well. But for the most part, it's we assess posture visually, hands-on musculature and skeletal evaluation. And, I follow my intuition. So there's also a little bit of a vibe check that goes on, which is not something that we definitely don't have time to teach that here. That's, something that takes a little bit of time to hone in on that skill. And it's understanding that this intuition is more than just woo-woo magic. It's actually allowing your perception to take in all of the information, your subconscious mind to bring in all that information, and then not question yourself when a random thought pops in your head about what something could be. So we do a little bit of that too. And in this case, on first assessment of this horse, I noticed that she was stepping in more underneath herself with one of her hind feet than she was with the other, that she had a slightly larger hind quarter on the left, that her feet were different. This one's huge. That her feet were different. She has high-low going on in front as well as behind. So it's pretty common. It's not like every horse has it, but it's pretty common to see some high-low going on in the front feet. Hind end, you don't normally notice it as much. In this case, they said that she had a bit of a clubfoot. So I asked for x-rays. Do you guys have x-rays of that? They didn't. So they did. They were really old. So we got new x-rays and we were able to kind of move forward. The thing about this horse is that, and the reason that they thought, she might benefit from regular body work is that she had some trauma when she was a foal. And here's the thing, you guys. She had trauma when she was a foal. She's 8 years old now. Yeah, she's been carrying, her body learned to move in response to the trauma. So we're not just talking like she stumbled when she was a foal. No, she had a major accident. She cut open her hind leg. It's still very scarred, has a lot of scar tissue around it, and she crushed her withers. They are slightly misshapen. The x-rays show that they're healthy, as healthy as hers are going to be. There's no kissing spine in there or anything like that. But they're not normal shaped. And so how did that change her movement while she was so young and growing and becoming the horse she is today? And we know that permanently altered the way she moved, not because it wasn't repairable, but because it wasn't addressed. Okay. It through her growing years, there was a lot of time and ability to make that be something that didn't affect her the way it does today. And I strongly believe, after, working with her, I've seen her 4 times now, in the last 6-ish weeks. And, I strongly believe now, this far in, that her feet are different the way they are because of the trauma, which, if you study feet enough and you study bodywork enough and you're nerdy enough to do the research, you will find that is not an uncommon thing. So when you have a gut instinct that there's something wrong with your horse, follow through on it. And this is, you're going to hear me say that a million times. Trust your gut. If you think there's something wrong, you will probably hear people tell you your horse is just being a jerk. They need to be, they need more training. They need more assertive hands. You need to be a leader. You need to tell them who's boss. And maybe somebody will recommend the vet, but then the vet will say, it's not pain related. If I had $1 for every time someone told me that about what was going on with their horse, and then I proved them wrong, and so I guess that's a red flag that I want to point out too. Whenever somebody says we've ruled out pain, my question is how? How'd you rule it out? Did the horse say to you like, oh yeah, I don't feel any pain? Because, oftentimes pain signals, things that they're trying to tell us about something being painful, are overlooked until it becomes explosive, right? They tell us little tiny signals, and it's important to remember that horses are prey animals. And so it is their instinct to hide their weaknesses, their pain, their compensations from predators. And I mean, guys, humans are predators, okay? So even if you have a really great relationship with your horse, on some level, instinctually, they're still going to keep a pain from you. That trust definitely helps speed up the process of being able to see, for them to openly share when something is bothering them. But it's not a foolproof thing, because there's, we're operating as animals. Like, we, even as humans, have a limbic brain that takes over in situations, even if it doesn't make sense, right? What is anxiety? What is the panic attack? You're like, there's no bear here, but I'm freaking out. That's your lower limbic system. That's your brain taking over and being like, we don't care. We need to do this. This is instinct, right? And your horse is going to have the same kind of response. So, essentially, two things here. Again, always trust your gut. Always follow through. And when people keep telling you the same thing, you're like, there's nothing here, you keep going until you find somebody that is willing and able to help you find the answer. And so one of the things that I do is really take in all the information. That's why I ask for x-rays, the chiropractic report. If I have more veterinary questions, sometimes I'll actually have a conversation with the vet and figure out what's going on. But usually the owner has enough information that we can look at all of the pieces. Do you guys anybody else here watch the true crime? I don't really watch true crime, but I watch the stuff that's based on true crime. Right? I like crime shows. I like the murder mystery vibe. I like to solve those puzzles. And so that's essentially what I do. We're just make a murder board of all your horse's information and tie the ropes, right? The little strings that lead us to the answer. Who's the murderer? What is the root cause of what's actually going on with your horse? And sometimes it's really helpful to have that third party view of all of the things, especially when it's someone who has an education in rehab and understanding biomechanics and biointegrity and all of the systems of the body to kind of help you narrow down where we should be going. So that's one, right? Is really continuing to look for an answer until you find an answer, or until the behavior stops because it was really needed something else, right? But anyway, the other side of this is understanding that your horse is always telling you a message. And, what we're really trying to do is, when we're employing body work, when you're calling a professional out, obviously, okay, feet, pretty simple. 5 to 6 week trim cycles, maybe a little bit longer if you do traditional shoeing. Dental, you should be doing that every 6 months. The vet comes out at least once, twice a year to do vaccines, depending on where you live and if your horse travels a lot, whatever. There's these things that are schedules, and we're these are the things that we do and when we do them and why. And when it comes to body work and chiropractic and MagnaWave or acupuncture or any of the other modalities, it's people think that those are just one-off things, and to do them regularly just means that you do it maybe more than once a year or once a year. And That's not how you get any results. And I just want you to understand that when I'm talking about results, I'm not saying that when you do massage, you should be looking for a certain outcome. You should only do massage when you have a problem. That's not it. I'm saying in order for your money to be well spent, in order for the session to be productive, in order for it to offer maximum results. So you're going to increase your range of motion, increase your circulation, make a generally healthier horse overall, because it's also going to encourage lymphatic drainage. It's going to make their coat better. It's going to help everything. Their feet might grow better. Their ligaments and tendons are going to be better in terms of like flexibility and stability, and their joints are going to be healthier because nutrients can actually get to the joints. Like, all these things can be done with massage, but if you think, or all the other modalities, really, maybe not quite, like these are very massage specific, but other modalities have their same like list of benefits, and they can be used as preventatives, and that's the goal. The goal isn't that you call a massage therapist because your horse is broken. I'm just saying. And these people, like, that was not, they didn't think she was broken, right? They didn't understand the severity of it. And that's the other thing I need to impress upon you guys is like, when you notice that there's a problem with your horse, it's been going on for a while because they hide it, not intentionally. They're not like, I'm not going to tell you it hurts. Instinctually, they're like, their body is just going into survival mode. Their body is compensating not to hide the truth from you, not to be an asshole, but because that's what it takes to survive. That is survival mechanism. That is self-preservation, right? So, with all that in mind, there's a reason why, order of operations, there's a reason why I do the things that I do in the order that I do them. When I start with a new client, it's 3 massages within 14 days. And I know that some people are like, oh my gosh, that's so much. But when's the last time your horse had a good massage? And that's the thing. It's like, not every massage therapist out there is going to address all the things that I address because they don't have the training that I have. And some massage schools don't teach in-depth explanation of pain patterns and understanding root causes. A lot of massage schools out there are just like, this is how we massage the muscle. Isn't that nice? And I'm not saying there's a problem with that. That's just not a solution. That's a nice relaxation. It's not a solution. And it's not really preventative. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not as preventative as intentional work based on your horse's natural compensation patterns and what's going on in their body. So 3 massages in about 14 days so we can take off layers of compensation that have accumulated over the span of your horse's life. Okay? So if you're like, well, my horse has had massage before, it can't be that bad. How regularly have they had it? Because if it's just once a month, that's not enough. Because by the time the practitioner comes back out a month later, shit's the same. That's why I do when I start with a new client, we do those 3 massages in 2 weeks. So by the time we get to the end of that 3rd session, we, 1, know if we found the root cause of any pain or behavioral problem. 2, if we haven't found the problem, then we know what it is, where it's at, and who to call next. 3, we can assess from here, are we ready for exercise? Depends on like what the reason, the severity of the problem that I was called out for in the beginning. Are they ready for exercise? Are they ready for a maintenance plan? What is this individual's maintenance plan going to be? Because I can tell you that after 1 massage, I still have way too many questions. I have an idea of what's going on with the horse, but I need to see how their body reacts between sessions 1 and 2 before I can fully understand what's going on in the body. And then again, between sessions 2 and 3 to know, are we regressing or are we just making progress now? And then from there, we can move forward on a maintenance schedule. But without all of that information first, moving forward doesn't make sense. Order of operations matters. So, all of that to say, you are the best person to help your horse, to heal your horse, to help your horse find an answer, and you have an endless amount of tools in front of you that you just probably haven't been using properly or using at all, right? Because a lot of people I know that get their horses massaged aren't doing it in a way that sets them up for long-term success. They're just like, Every other month is good. We alternate with the chiropractor. Well, guess what, guys? The chiropractor also should be coming after massage, ideally 24 hours after massage, so that the horse's muscles can all have been relaxed. So the adjustment is easier to do for the practitioner to perform, but also easier on the horse, causes less soreness after the adjustment is made, because doesn't that just make sense? When all the muscles are tight and pulling on the bones and pulling the bones out of alignment and then they're forced back into place, that doesn't relax the muscles, it tears them. Micro tears, much like exercise, but still, why do we do that? Instead, we could just relax the muscle so that when the chiropractor comes to give it the last shove back into place, because if we relax the muscle, it'll start coming back to center on its own. The chiropractor will come out, give it a little mobilization, and everything's just so much easier. Like, why wouldn't we do that? And also, if the muscles are tight and then it's forced back into place, the muscles are still tight. It's just going to pull it right back out. So order of operations matters. You're not utilizing the tools you have before you to your highest and best, to your horse's highest and best, to your pocketbook's highest and best. So that's what we're here for. That's what this group is all about. Drop your questions, comments, concerns, all the things in the comments below. Again, I'm going to put the quiz in the comments as well. If you haven't taken that yet, go ahead and take it. Once you take your quiz, you'll come back in here and find the post in the guide section that says start here. Welcome, start here. And kind of go on a little adventure, because I like fantasy and fun too. So that will be amazing for you and a great start to your quest, to your journey. And I think that's it for today. I feel like I'm forgetting to tell you something. Like there was something special I was going to say, but for now, get out there, do some fun pony shit, and I'll see you next Tuesday.